body's on the frame.
Is just...
The whole thing's cattywampus. Yeah, I don't know how he keeps tires on it. Welcome back to E-Hermes, your electric adventure travel channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. If you enjoy this video, please make sure to hit the like button as well. Hello and welcome to today's adventure. Today and tomorrow we are going to be touring the wineries of the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania. We'll be camping tonight at Ohio State Park, and we have the new Yakima Grand Tour 16 roof box on the top of the car. Hang on, there's somebody turning in front of me. That we're using for the first time. So we're going to see how that works. We were able to easily fit everything we needed into it for a single overnight trip. For a longer trip, there's still plenty of room in there. We have our 2 totes in the back with all of our other supplies, and we'll be sleeping in Lotus Blossom using camp mode. So that's the plan for the next 2 days, and our first stop is Plum Run Winery. That should be a good video of that bridge. Alright, so our first stop is actually going to be to supercharge at the Washington, Pennsylvania Supercharger. So we're going to charge here. Not that we really need the charge. We have 158 miles of range still from this morning when we left the house. But we're going into areas that have less frequent, reliable, and particularly less fast chargers. The park we're staying at tonight has a charger in general, and certainly the campsite we're staying at has a 30 amp 120 volt charger, which is not all that great. If you've seen our other video about campground charging, you'll know that a 120 amp 30 amp charger is only slightly better than a regular wall outlet, nowhere near a 50 amp 240 volt. I will put a link to that in the description if you want to check that charging video out. Alright, we walked into the Giant Eagle and we got ourselves some lunch, some sandwiches, some bread, some cheese. Miss E-Hermes may show us that when we get to the car. Saw this Model S charging next to us, and his license plate I find rather curious. It says, friend of coal. And then it says something about coal keeping lights on. He's definitely a coal fan, and yet he's driving an electric car, so it seems a little bit odd to me. Here is the Yakima, Grand Tour 16, still left the label on it, so we know exactly what it is. So Mrs. E-Hermes got a turkey and Swiss and multigrain. I got a Chipotle chicken wrap. We also got some sourdough bread and some cheddar jack cheese. Yummy. All right, so we took the opportunity to use the restroom, do a little shopping, eat our lunch, and in that time we got almost a full battery charge. I think we put about 160 miles of charge in, and now we're ready to head to the wineries with full bellies, which is always good when you're gonna be drinking wine. Well, here we are at Plum Run Winery. I think it's fair to say we struck out there. So we're gonna try Winslow Winery now, because Plum Run Winery was not open and was not exactly inviting, even if it had been open, I would think it's fair to say. All right, well, let's go check out Winslow Winery. All right, so here we are at Winslow Winery. They're actually out picking grapes in the vineyard even as we speak. And the sky is particularly beautiful in this picture, in this video. Look at this truck. It is... No, the wheels aren't lined up either. It's not that the frame's on. No, the body's on the frame.
Is just...
The whole thing's cattywampus. Yeah, I don't know how he keeps tires on it.
In 500 feet, turn left onto Castle Drive.
That is bizarre.
Now turn left onto Castle Drive.
All right, so we're going to Vinoski Winery. And I don't know how their wine is. I don't know anything about the place except they have one big, huge, beautiful building.
Now your destination is on the left.
Oh, we can't go here.
Well, there's probably a wedding. Place is pretty wild. Closed private events. Okay, that's the private event, so we'll go to the back. So this is the tasting room. This is the bar where you do the tasting. Inside the building. Then we'll give you some video outside in the valley overlooking things. Beautiful fireplace. So they had a unique wine-making process there. They do not crush their grapes with a press. They just put them in a stainless steel, I assume, tank, and let gravity squeeze it out, and then they pump it up and do it over and over and over. And they said they don't get as much yield out of it. They lose about 25% of the yield, but it does create a unique taste. So we really like that. That's a place we'll be coming back to, I believe. Look at this. A tunnel, then a bridge?
Mm-hmm.
That really is a tunnel too. I thought it would be like a railroad thing. I don't think so.
Well, if it's a railroad thing, it made this whole road a railroad track at one time.
No, I meant above us, but I don't think it is.
No, but this is wide enough to be like an old train.
Yeah. All right, we're on some back roads, and now we're going to Chapel Hill Winery. So we'll let you know what we see in there. All right, so I did not get any video, unfortunately, in Chapel Hill Winery. It's a small winery in, I believe it's the part of their house. It's actually attached to the house, I believe. But it's a separate room. It's not uncomfortable. It's not like you're in their house. You don't feel like that. They had quite an eclectic group there, a lot of motorcyclists, and some people. I'm sorry?
Vendor.
And a cigar vendor, yes, which I got one of the cigars, so we'll have that tonight at the campfire. And it was a pretty interesting place. Unfortunately, they only had 2 reds because they were out of a lot of it. I do think it's towards the end of the year where new stuff's getting made, so that's probably why we keep running into this, because we ran into the last place. They had several that were sold out. But it was a nice place. Kind of a fun, local kind of feel to it. It's quite the opposite of the castle we just came from previous to this. But it's still a good place, and I would highly recommend it. Coming up on our right will be the estate called Falling Water, famous home designed by Frank Lloyd Wright for a wealthy family out of Pittsburgh as their summer retreat. Built out over a creek and a little waterfall. We're not going to go to it on this trip. We've been to it in the past. It is something that if you're in the area, you really should take a look at. It's a beautiful architectural design. It would be really nice in the summer. It would be pretty cold in the winter, I gotta believe. Because it always felt kind of damp and cold even in the summer, which was good because that was back in the day when there wasn't air conditioning, and to get out of a big city like that, wealthy people would come out of the country and relax and cool off. So it's a neat place to go to. And there is the entrance to Falling Water. So this is the town of Ohiopyle. That is the Chesapeake and Ohio Trail, I think it's called. Great Passage, I think it's actually called. Chesapeake and Ohio Great Passage. Little restaurant here. You can kayak, you can rubber raft.
Bicycle.
Certainly bicycling. Somewhere here there's an electric car charger, but we're not going to worry about that because we've got an outlet at our campsite. So here we are at the campsite. We have a electric hookup. We have all of our adapters. We're going to use the TT30, which is what this campsite has, which is a 30 amp but 120 volt outlet. We're going to plug that in here. Next, we will plug in the mobile connector. I previously turned the breaker off. We'll turn it on. Then we will plug it into the car. It's making the connection and it's starting to charge. We'll give this a minute to get up to speed. Now we're up to 8 miles an hour. So to get to a full, that's about what I would expect. To get to a full charge, it would take us 14 hours and 30 minutes. It is now 5 o'clock. 12 hours would be 5 o'clock. So 9:30 tomorrow morning, we should have a full charge. We probably won't get quite that because overnight I suspect we'll use some heat. And that'll reduce a little bit, but we don't need a full charge either. Even if I get, in 10 hours, if I got 80 miles, that would give me 240, 260, something like that. That would be dandy. So I'm sure we'll be in the mid to upper 200s tomorrow. That'll be more than enough to get us to a supercharger. So this is our Tasmanian cooler that we have with our food in it for dinner tonight, breakfast tomorrow, some condiments. Plenty of ice, and this fits really nicely in the frunk. All right, so we have a sheet here just to protect things. Then this is our air mattress that is made specially to fit back here. This is our compressor to fill the air mattress, because I could blow it up, but then I'd pass out probably from lack of air. So it plugs into a 12 volt outlet there. So when we woke up this morning, the car was charged to 300 miles of range. We ran the heater all night, although it wasn't on lock because it wasn't that cold. It was about low 50s, upper 40s outside. Kept it 69 inside all night. Charged both our phones, both the GoPros, and we have almost a full battery. By the time we have breakfast and leave, it probably will be full. So again, we were able to use the car to keep us warm and comfortable, run the sound system, run the lights, run the heater, charge all our devices, and wake up with a full charge. Pretty nice. We stayed at the campsite till about 11 o'clock, went for a hike, had breakfast, did some other things, took everything down, and by the time we were done, the car was fully charged. So I'm going down a very steep grade with sharp curves, and I'm supposed to use low gear, and normally this would be great for regenerative braking, but since the battery is full, it does not regenerative brake because there's nowhere to put the electricity. So it really wants to try to get away from me, so I actually have to use the friction brakes, which is pretty rare in this car, so at least I'll get a little bit of use. Okay, so we are heading for our first winery of the day. We're going to Vin de Matrix Winery. All right, here we are at Vin de Matrix Winery. Let's go inside and see what they have. So Vin de Matrix is actually on the bottom half of a golf course clubhouse. cute little tasting room. Get my finger out of the way. And plenty of wine, bread, and cheese. Now we are on our way to Glades Pike Winery, and we are turning, when I find it, onto Covered Bridge Road. So hopefully there's a covered bridge.
Get out and walk and look at the view. It's a really old bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, 1830.
So this is the view from the back deck of the Glades Pike Winery. And while it is a decent view, their vineyard is a little smaller than I had anticipated. So Mrs. E-Hermes and I both agree that Glade Pike Winery was probably the least friendly, coldest winery of the 5 or 6 or 7 we've been to this weekend, or recently at all, actually. Wine was fine, and they were polite. They just weren't warm and inviting, I guess I'd say. All right, our next stop is Green Dance, the winery at Sand Hill, which is also Sand Hill Berries and Orchard, it looks like. So they've got a little bit of everything here. Let's go see what they got. So here we are, Green Dance Vineyards, I think, winery, something. It's kind of an interesting place. It is a fruit farm and winery, restaurant, event venue, a little bit of everything, spread over some very beautiful grounds, and it seems like a fun place. Have not tried the wines yet. We'll be doing that next, but I want to show you a little bit around first. All right, here's a little more views of Green Dance. Back behind it, there's an orchard. They have some live music today, as you can hear. They have the farm store, the market, with desserts. They have the bistro with sandwiches. Certainly the winery. It's a pretty unique place. For our last stop today, before we give our livers a rest, we are going to Bella Terra Vineyards. It is very near Green Dance. It was about 3 or 4 miles away. So we'll give that one a try, let you know what we see there, and then we'll probably head for home. So this is the tasting room. I think they actually have several tasting rooms. They also have several event spaces. You can buy wine by the bottle here after you taste. Actually, tastings are free, which I think is actually a good idea on their part, because it almost makes you feel obligated, but we really liked almost all the wines we tasted. And here is some of the important stuff where some of the real work happens. A few final thoughts on the trip. The Grand Tour box on the roof racks had minimal impact on our range, and the fact that we were able to charge completely overnight to a full battery allowed us to not have to charge at all on our way home, despite the fact that we stopped at 4 different wineries and had the entire drive home. Well, that concludes our tour of at least 7 of the Laurel Highland area wineries. We hope you enjoyed your visit. If you did, please like this video. Please remember to subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified of our upcoming content. Thank you and have a good day.